What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're getting into the XFL. That's right, we are getting back into the XFL. We're going to put the USFL off to the side for just a little bit and talk about some huge news for the XFL. But before I do that, I do want to mention that tomorrow if you're watching this, it's the next following day, it'll be Tuesday at 9 p.m. We're going to catch the last hour of the draft live. So if you got the chance, check by the channel around 9 p.m. on Tuesday night. That'll be the 22nd of February. Come on out, check out the channel, and you can get my initial thoughts on the quarterbacks and some of the other guys that have been drafted so far. So looking forward to that. Now, getting back into this XFL news. The XFL news is that the XFL is partnering with the NFL. Now, this is huge, and it really doesn't amount to a whole lot. Let's break this down, though. The huge part. This is huge. The NFL really has never done anything like this with any type of alternative football league. They've done some things, been at some different events and things like that. But, we've never seen a official partnership like this with the XFL. So they're calling this a petri dish type of a thing, but they're partnering on innovating the game of football and for player safety, development, and all of, what is going to be wrapped up into that. So, your mind might go, okay, so this is going to be a minor league for the NFL. No, the XFL came out and said, no, that's not it. We are still going to be a spring league. We're going to do our thing, but it's advantageous for the NFL. They see, what the XFL is doing. They like how they're progressing the game along. They've been talking, since last fall. And, we've gotten those hints from Danny and that. And so, this partnership, it's not exclusive, but yeah, it's one of those things where the NFL is acknowledging the XFL officially and, kind of putting, giving them their blessing to go forward, kind of a deal. It's one of those things where the NFL they're between a rock and a hard place. You don't really want players going out and playing ball because there's a high, significance chance that they could quite possibly get injured. This isn't, basketball. This isn't baseball to where, you can really let guys develop in minor leagues and things like that. I mean, when guys really, they don't want guys doing reps in those situations that they're going to get hurt. But then again, they want guys to get developed. And I will say, when it comes to innovating the game, we all know right now that the NFL is struggling with that piece of it. The game is a bit stale. I still think it's exciting. I still think that it's fun. But I will say it's starting to show its age when compared to, what the XFL was. The high powered, exciting football, at all points. And the other thing that has really been hurting the league is the officiating. They really need to get this, figured out. It has been bad for quite a few years now. And, what better way to do that than, to kind of partner along with somebody else and kind of give them suggestions, kind of, push them in kind of some directions that you want to see, ask them to try some things, to utilize them with it, and, kind of go from there. Like I said, it's very vague, but this is huge that the NFL is acknowledging them, that the NFL is kind of giving their blessing to them, but in the same regards, it's not going to materialize into anything that you're really going to see anytime soon. And, and it really has no bearing on what the XFL is planning on doing and really giving them any footing. I mean, they're getting a little bit of name recognition. Well, not a little bit. They're getting a lot of name recognition with the NFL, acknowledging them. But, when it comes to, setting things up for them to succeed and, pushing them forward and, that's all, and, having a sustainable league, that's all on the XFL and that's all on them. And it seems to be that, that they are putting the pieces in place here. And for me, I'm excited about all of it. I love the competition that's there. I like the fact that the USFL is pushing their product and pushing to put out, a good product here. We're going to get spring football in 2022. And then 2023, we are going to have a battle on our hands. And they're already starting to fight back and forth, which I think is awesome. With that competition, it breeds excellence. It really, really does. And, when you don't have that, you see where things are and how things are. You always, it always, furthers things forward quicker and faster. And I like the fact that, listen, if we have the XFL and we have the USFL, we have two places now for guys to go play professional football and make money doing what they love. And I love the fact of it with that. So on one hand, it's super exciting. It's huge. This is big news. And on the other hand, we really still need to wait and see what the XFL is going to do, because the NFL is not putting any ties to them. The other thing is that this is not an exclusive partnership that they have here. There's nothing that just, that links the two together, that, they're only doing this with them. I mean, they could quite possibly come out and say they're doing it with the USFL, and I wouldn't even be surprised if you hear some of that stuff coming out of the end of this season. I mean, Fox is the biggest partner that the NFL has. And so for Fox to be making a spring league and doing what they're doing, things have to be okay with them and the NFL. That's all I'm going to say, because really I don't know any more than that. I'm just saying that those two are married already, and that, things need to fly okay with those two before the USFL can even happen. Whereas with the XFL, it's a much, much different story. So you got two leagues coming from a very, very different place here. But in all reality, I love it. I love this announcement. I think that it's awesome. I think that this is a big, big deal, for the NFL to be working with the XFL in any capacity whatsoever. And the whole point of the player development, they're not going to be sharing players. They're not going to be going back and forth. It's not going to be anything that it's going to be like that. The idea is they see the XFL as a place where, guys can get experience, and then NFL can snatch them up for fall ball. And, and the XFL can be their spring thing. And the XFL sees this as a good name recognition, and also too, they're new to the game. I mean, people in it might not be, but the NFL's been doing this for a very, very long time. So to get that perspective from the NFL, to get that information from them is huge, especially if they can work on technologies with one another. I mean, if the NFL will share some things with the XFL, that's a big, big deal right there. So I think that this has the potential to be really, really huge. And in the same regards, this could be just, one thing that is just kind of a, cool little side note, to kind of bolster and to get the XFL back into, the news game and to keep them relevant. And again, I'm not knocking the XFL, but right now the USFL has an advantage that they are going to get to play. They're going to get eyes on actual football, whereas the XFL we don't even know where these teams are going to be playing, if they're going to be going back to the stadiums where they were before. We don't even know any players. We don't know any coaches. And, we're finding all this information out for the USFL. So the USFL has a head start. So the XFL needed to really do something. And I think that this is huge, and this really does keep them in the game with it. So I'm all for it. I love it. I love having both of these leagues that we can talk about, that we can sink our teeth into, that we can dig into. As always, I want to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are, and we'll continue the conversation on down there. All right, guys, listen, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.